Avatar 2, ladies and gentlemen. That is the movie we're going to be talking about today. We are TalkingTelly, and we are going to be talking about the new hit movie, James Cameron's baby, his child, that he's been working on for the past 10 years. Avatar
Actually,
2,
I might correct you there. 13 years. It's
13
13 years now
years.
since the first Avatar came out. He's been
Oh,
working on this shit 13 years.
and it's dropped this month. And your boys have, of course, watched it.
Oh, we had to. Had to,
And
folks.
we, we'll be talking about what we thought about it, what our thoughts are for the future of the series, and, you know, what we expect from James Cameron and his crew, his happy mercenaries that are living their best lives working on this series for years.
For literal years.
So,
I feel like these people see more blue people than they see their own family.
yeah,
Like,
their family is blue people at this point.
spend their Christmas dinner talking about blue people.
But yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, even though you do know, Avatar 2 is a sequel to Avatar 1, the biggest selling movie of all time in the box office. And Avatar 2 is a direct sequel taking place, I mean, roughly 5 years, and then later on 15 years after the first movie. And I mean, off the bat, I think we can say I really enjoyed Avatar 2. I think coming into it, I was skeptical. I know the general consensus has been Avatar 1 sucks. We all hate Avatar 1. What a boring and trite movie. Everyone liked it because of the visuals. And as much as I agree with that to some extent, I always had a soft spot for Avatar 1, you know. It's a unique sci-fi action movie, and it has a lot of, interesting takes, and obviously it looks spectacular. And Avatar 2, when you see the trailers, it's about family, it's about his, family, that's all that matters. You're thinking, whatever, these kid actors, which I'm not saying they're bad, but you might be thinking going in, oh, is this just a crappy, family movie? And family is the main theme of the movie, however, it executes it really well. I think, in my opinion, I think Avatar 2 is better than Avatar 1. And I not
Yeah,
only
I
not
would agree
yeah,
wholeheartedly with that.
not only I mean, obviously in the visuals are incomparable, but also in the dialogue, the writing, and the overall story. I think let's just get down to what makes this movie so good. I mean, firstly, we have to talk about it. It's what everyone talks about: the visuals. This movie is the I see this. We've seen this movie in 3D, and it's the best looking movie I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
Every
by far,
By
folks,
far,
by
you,
far.
you,
This
you
movie,
can't compare. You
this
can't
movie
compare.
is like it's visual ecstasy. That is the best way to describe it. Is visual ecstasy. Like
Every single
I,
scene was jaw dropping. There was not a single scene that I was thinking, "Oh, this is okay." There was not a single scene that I was content. Every scene, and I mean every scene, I had my jaw dropped to the goddamn chair, and from the
even
get
the
go,
bullshit filler part, even the
yeah.
bullshit filler part, they spared no
Mm.
expense with this movie, folks. Like honestly, if you're just going to watch a movie, like I feel like you don't even need to worry about the plot for the
Oh no.
most part. I feel like the plot is there just to, push you along, keep you interested, but you're there
Mm.
to watch, the world. You're there for world building. You're there for new animals. You're there for the trees, the sky. Like everything is just so. No, it's just gorgeous.
It's a spectacle. That's what it is, and it's the way I thought of it when I was watching it, and on agrees with me is I was watching this and I was thinking, this, if games look like this in 10, 15, 20 years, I mean, holy cow. Like, it's so. I like the analogy I like to use is when you look at Marvel movies, for example, Infinity War or Endgame, you see, wow, that CGI is great. Thanos looks fantastic, and Thor looks great with his Stormbreaker. Well, you look at Thanos and you go, yeah, he's not real. He's a big purple guy with a ball sack on his chin. You look at
Yeah. Oh no, you look at
you,
Thanos.
you look at Hulk and you're like, he looks crap. Like you look at Professor Hulk and you're thinking, eh,
Oh, he looks stupid. He looks like there's a copy and paste. Like someone literally just threw him in the scene. Like do you ever watch like the Animaniacs movie from the 90s, where it's like a cartoon drawing on film? Like it just looks so stupid, and that was CGI back then. Nowadays, like people got to convince me. I watched that movie. I literally said, "You got to convince me this movie wasn't filmed on Pandora. You have to convince me this movie wasn't filmed on Pandora."
I
James Cameron actually got like the quantum verse in his back garden, and he's filming this shit. He's filming this shit on fucking Pandora in the quantum verse. Because my fucking god, how?
it's
Like we
funny.
know Zoe Saldana plays
Yeah,
Nick Fury in the movie. It does not look like Zoe like Saldana. It doesn't.
it looks like the TV. You're thinking, oh, that's the TV.
Yeah, you're looking at her thinking, my god, that is not Zoe Saldana. That it just isn't. Like, when you're watching Thanos in Infinity War and Endgame, you're thinking that's Josh Brolin. That's Josh Brolin in a suit.
Yeah.
You're watching this, you're thinking, my god, who is this?
What's funny is people after the first movie they said people were sad, depressed that they couldn't live on Pandora, that they could never go there, and I always laughed. I was like, haha, whatever, what a bunch of idiots, because I never got to see the first one in 3D. But now after this movie, I'm thinking, I want to see Pandora. Like, where is this place? Get me a ticket to the goddamn Pandora. Get me on the cryosleep aeroplane, baby. Get me in the spaceship. I want to go there. It's, I don't know what I'm saying. It's seamless. That's the most important part. It's just as good as CGI can be. It can never detract from the immersion, and this movie does that perfectly from the get go. You're instantly like, all right, here's Jake Sully, here's Natiri. You feel for these people. You feel their emotions. You feel their struggles. You can see that them going through physical strife, and you can empathize because these to you are real people. Obviously, they're aliens. They're big, huge blue people, but the CGI. I mean, I'll put it this way: this movie basically is about the looks, even though it has a plot and it has themes and what it wants to evoke. It's mainly about, as I mentioned, a visual spectacle, and not if the CGI was worse, then this movie simply wouldn't have been popular. Avatar
If the
is.
CGI was worse, folks, this movie would suck
No
ass.
one
It
would care
would
for this
not.
movie. No one would care for this movie.
Yeah, no, it'd be tossed aside. It
But
would be tossed aside. I feel like we need to go into that a little bit more
yeah,
for
I
like our
think.
final thoughts on the movie. Because I don't know, with the first Avatar, I'll just go on like a little tangent and say,
Yeah.
like, the first Avatar was good. Don't get me wrong. I fortunately got to see it in 3D with my family way back when, folks. So I feel like I have not that I have the full opinion on it, because bear in mind I was like 10 at the time. Well, no, actually even younger. I was even younger. So I feel like watching it, I didn't really I didn't really get the plot. I thought it was almost like a half baked plot in the sense that, of course it's aliens against humans, but humans are the bad guy. But it doesn't really like develop after that. So I was kind of worried for this movie, thinking, okay, will this movie just be the exact same? It's just humans against aliens, but humans are the bad guys? Is it just gonna be like another visual spectacle, but there's no plot? I feel like this movie especially, it it shies away from that, but it stays true to its core.
Yeah, I think that's what this movie
Like
does the best.
it shies away from the whole humans and aliens thing. Like, of course, humans are still bad guys, which is what I'm trying to say. It stays true to its core. Humans are still bad guys. Aliens are still good guys, but you know, I feel like you can almost forgive it with the visuals. You can forgive that, which is why we were trying to say there. It's not like it'd be a bad movie with shit or CGI. It just wouldn't be $1 billion movie or
Yeah,
movies.
I think the this movie is obviously it's carried a lot by its characters as well. This is a family movie, and in a way, in I think this movie relies more on the characters, a lot more on the characters than the first movie. Because the first one was all about, you're ogling, you're thinking, wow, look at his ecosystem. And you're obviously doing it the same here, except now you're wondering how these, how the relatives are going to live, how they're going to fit into, certain places that they visit, how they're going to deal with their troubles, how they're going to fit in. And it works. I mean, every character is great. I mean, like, when I mean character, I mean, like, every blue person. And the main villain, which, we'll talk about later on. Um, Particularly, obviously the main family members are, which I'm very impressed with. Obviously, Jake Sully, we know, Sam Worthington is a really good actor. Obviously, Zoe Saldana as Nichi was great. And Kiri and Loak were very good characters. And,
And you're forgetting about
welcome
Nateo.
addition.
You're forgetting about my boy Nateo, the oldest born. I feel like that's not a spoiler.
No,
Or
that's
the oldest son.
yeah.
Not the oldest born, the oldest
I guess
son,
he's
I should say.
actually the youngest born or the oldest. Well, I don't know I don't know the terminology.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, he is the oldest born,
yeah,
but you just wouldn't say it like that. You wouldn't say, "Oh, he is the oldest born."
yeah. Would you say you have
You just get what we're trying to say, folks.
any critiques for this movie in general?
Any critiques for this movie, spoiler free way or spoiler way,
Spoiler free.
or
Just we'll keep it spoiler free
but
for now.
spoiler free. I feel like yet again it goes back to what I was saying there. Like the plot isn't half baked, but it's heavily carried by its visuals.
Yeah,
I feel like we do need to go a little bit more into that. But it is like this movie. It's it is a visual spectacle, and if it wasn't this way, the plot would just be a bit like.
it's
Uh,
it's funny because it's not. You could argue this isn't really a sci-fi movie. I was talking to someone about this yesterday, and sci-fi movies are all about. If you take Dune, for example, it's all about world building. These deep, rich environments. The lore behind them, and Avatar obviously one I'd say is a real sci-fi movie, but this one, it's obviously it's sci-fi, but it's more a sci-fi action family movie, if you know what I mean. Because yes, they do talk about lore, but they don't really go into the backstories of their cultures, if you know what I mean. They'd be like, oh, this culture exists, and that's it, Whereas in Dune, all these other things, they like to describe things a lot, how how like the force works in Star Wars, the nature connects into it, how I don't say Dora Milaje, how
the Dora
the Bene
Milaje.
Gesserit and their cult works in Dune, how the hierarchy of the families work and how the politics, and in Dune you get a lot of exposition, but it's to sort of build up this world. That's the I wouldn't consider this a negative. I like to point it out that Avatar 2 is actually it's not I would not consider it a proper sci-fi. It's more like sci-fi adventure action bomb with family, which in my opinion actually makes it better because it's
Honestly,
extremely accessible.
it's genre breaking.
No,
I'd
I
say
would
it's
not say.
genre break.
That's not genre.
No, it is. It is. It steers away from the traditional
I
sci-fi
mean, yeah,
route of like almost not like half baked, but like sometimes jokeable CGI can be used in sci-fi movies, folks. If we
yeah, but
remember
that's
such
yeah,
sci-fi
but
classics,
that's not a stereotype of sci-fi. That's just crappy sci-fi movies. I think
okay,
I think I think the reason is because it's more of a family movie. It has a lot of action where sci-fi would tend to just mull over stuff, discourse. And I actually gladly accept this change because this is a movie for anyone. I mean, in the cinemas there were literally like babies in the cinemas that we went. They were literally like a kid, like they were like 3-year-olds. I'm pretty sure down at the bottom. Above us there was like some kids stomping around every couple of minutes, going to the toilet. And
honestly, I didn't even notice them. I didn't even notice them.
I barely noticed
I was
them.
so invested. I was so invested in
Yeah,
the movie. Like usually, with most movies, I'd be like, "Oh,
yeah.
kid won't shut up," God damn it! I'm not the kind of person that be like a
Shut
hey,
up.
shut your kid up, shut your kid up. He's so annoying. I'm trying to watch the movie. I wouldn't be like that, but usually with some movies, you'd be like, "Oh, kids are screaming. Oh, they're ruining my movie experience." But you wouldn't say no.
Yeah,
With this movie, I didn't even notice them.
yeah. I think it's a light movie. It's not. obviously has more emotional moments, but it's not. This isn't. Even though it's 3 hours long, and the length of it can seem very daunting, very intimidating. It goes by very quickly. It's light with it has topics it wants to talk about, and it discusses them greatly. How how people abuse nature, how they basically just take whatever resource they want for it and disregard the outcome or the actions that they do. But nothing too heavy, nothing too complex. You're not sitting there scratching your head trying to wrap your mind around this complex plot. And you don't need to do that for every movie. The action's fun, the characters are good, the CGI is breathtaking, and you're just in for the experience. I think. I think for a movie like this, I think it works wonders, and I think it will be I think it will be Avatar 1, and I think it will be the highest grossing movie of all time.
Oh, definitely, definitely,
It's
folks.
at one
And
point four.
I feel like it's a well deserved. It's a well deserved. This movie, genuinely, if we're gonna wrap up the spoiler free review, I feel like this movie deserves to be the highest grossing. Because I don't know, I feel like a lot of CGI, like we were kind of getting. It felt like we were getting to the cusp of it. Also, another one of my fears going into this movie, I was afraid it was gonna look great, but it wasn't gonna blow me away. Like it wasn't gonna be like magical,
Yeah, it
like the
wasn't
first
gonna be
Avatar
the
movie
next
was.
step.
It wasn't gonna be, this is the next step in CGI. This is how everything will look in 10 years' time, 15 years' time, like we taught with games. But that movie, or this movie, I should say, and the future Avatar movies, they actually they give me hope. They give me hope. I hope games can look like this. I hope
Oh man,
Marvel movies can start looking like this movie. Like
I
10, 15 years down the road. I hope
I
it's this beautiful and it
oh
takes
yeah.
this much effort. And it takes this much time to craft masterpieces. Instead of pumping out movies like Marvel does. I want them to actually take time, appreciate their work, appreciate the little things and like the nature and art behind it.
I
That's
do
all I gotta say,
actually
spoiler
want
free.
to do a final little touch of spoiler free is just uh I really I do hope this becomes the highest grossing. Do I think there are better movies, of course, but I'm just looking at it. It's not the fastest. It's not the fastest movie to hit 1 billion. Obviously, it's at 1.4 billion now, and the movie did come out just over 2 weeks ago. But there have been quicker. Endgame got 1.2 billion in 5 days.
Bear in mind,
Jesus
there was
Christ.
such hype.
Yeah. Oh, I
There was
agree.
such hype around
I
Endgame.
agree. But I'm just.
Everyone and their mom wanted to go see Endgame at midnight. Everyone and their mom wanted to go see it.
But
But I feel like not everyone was running out the door for goddamn Avatar Way of War.
see, Endgame hit 2.5 billion in 20 days.
But I feel like once everyone saw Endgame, they were like, I wouldn't go see it again. This movie, folks, genuinely, I was thinking back on it. I said to myself after watching it originally, I wouldn't go see it again in cinema. Thinking back on it, reminiscing,
I
talking
would.
about it now, I would.
Oh yeah,
Honestly, I'd go back and see it again.
definitely. That's like I left and I told Owen I want to see this again. It's actually the final thing before we end the spoiler free section. Please watch it in 3D, please.
Yeah,
I know someone
yeah.
who watched it in 2D, and they said they had their problems with the story, but they weren't so blown away by the visuals. The 3D is crucial to this movie. And when I mean 3D, I don't mean, oh, they're waving a bow and it's in your face. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's like, I'm
And
talking
it's not
about the
like
characters being in
oh,
front of the background. I'm talking about the way the leaves look at the trees. I'm talking about you look at the nose and the way it acts different. Shit hits different when you put on those glasses. You know what I mean? So,
honestly, like I've never been a fan of 3D. I've never been an advocate for 3D. I always feel like if you can watch it in 3D, you can watch it in 2D. This movie, like for 3D, which I thought was dying, has completely revamped it for me. I feel like any CGI movie which I want to go watch now, I kind of need to go watch it in 3D. Like if they have Ant-Man Quantumania in 3D, I kind of feel like I need to go watch it in 3D. That's what I'm saying. Because this movie, 3D wise, slap.
You're listening now. Hopefully you are listening now. We are going to be entering the spoiler section. So if you've clicked on this video, you probably already know that this is a spoiler video. But just in case you're not fully aware, the spoilers will begin from here on out. Now we will
Yep,
be
this is
talking
spoiler,
in
spoiler,
chronological
spoiler.
order. So let's say you want to. Actually, just don't trust us. I wouldn't recommend. We could just babble out.
Oh, we do tend to go on tangents,
Yeah.
but I feel like we'll try and keep it as chronological as we possibly can. I feel like, especially with a movie like this, you can't keep it too chronological. I feel
Yeah.
like I want to, but you can't because
Yeah. So
it is a spectacle like that. But the plot is
This is
the plot.
so. Let's just start with something I didn't want to mention in the spoiler-free review at all. Wait, let me just mark this time before we skip. Something I didn't want to mention in the spoiler-free review at all, and that is, it's mentioned like very quickly in the movie. The fact that the Colonel is the villain again. I love the fact that he's the goddamn villain again. I think I I love sci-fi, and I love the fact that they have his chip in a brain and he's back, and it's like, oh damn, Colonel. His name is Quaritch. I never knew what his goddamn name was, but the Colonel's back, and you're like, oh my god, he's back.
Like I was both for and against the Colonel being back. I kind of thought it was like rehashing a villain because they didn't want to bring in a new one. I was like, all right, I kind of went along with it just because I thought, yet again, folks, this is Avatar movie. I thought
Can you back
I'm
away?
not I'm not necessarily
Can you
here.
back away from the mic a bit?
Can I back away from the mic?
It seems like you're eating the mic over the last like minute.
Okay, how about now? Is that any better?
Yeah, I think. Anyway, yeah, continue.
Anyway, yeah. So I was thinking, folks, this is Avatar movie. I'm not here for the plot. I'm not here to be like amazed or like, oh wow, this plot is next level. So when I saw the card, I was like, oh, it'll do. That was my first impression. But coming through the movie, and especially in the second act and third act,
Yeah.
I'm glad they brought him back.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm very happy they brought him back. And that's weird for me to say because usually once I get like an impression, I'm like, oh, I kind of keep to it. I'm stubborn in my ways. No, but this I was pleasantly surprised by the Colonel. They made him like not like a relatable character, but like a likable character.
Yeah, they definitely made him. They changed him from the generic hoorah Marine guy in the first movie to, maybe he's not that bad, even though he is pretty bad.
No, you still know he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
So it's a family movie. He is still the bad guy,
Bad
but
guy.
it's not like. But he is just the bad guy,
Yeah.
But I feel like some of the decisions he makes and some of the shit he does and all that, you could see yourself doing in a way.
Yeah, I
Like the
guess
guys,
if you're steroid loaded up jawhead.
well, everyone he's given the job to go over there. Oh, you gotta go get Pandora. You gotta go. I don't know, kill Jake Sully.
Yeah.
And you're doing the shit you do. Of course, he's a bad guy. They can still villainize him. But like, he isn't going around like killing people and shit
Well.
until the very end. Until
Well,
the
yeah.
very end. Until the very end.
Yeah, when he decides to go sicko mode and has enough of this shit.
When he decides to go sicko, complete sicko mode. But I was happy
Jesus.
in the second and third. I don't know what is wrong.
Holy
I
fuck.
do not know what is wrong with it.
It was fine
No,
the whole
'cause I'm
time, but now it's suddenly getting based.
maybe because I'm talking more.
No,
All right, I'll try and talk at like a lower tone.
maybe.
All right, how is this now?
I just
Is
want
that-
to
is that any
quickly
better?
check. Alright, Jay Sully, have you seen Avatar 2? If not, then you're missing out. But anyway,
You're missing out.
um, so basically, let's just try and go as much chronologically as possible. What else? I like the fact that the start it is a mini recap, if you know what I mean. Like, they talk
Oh,
about
the
Pandora.
start is like
Holy fuck.
what would you call it? Like I do not know what was wrong with me.
You'll
I
leave it.
do not.
I'll just lower it and it'll be fine.
Okay. No, because I've done absolutely nothing on my headset. I've done nothing at all.
Maybe if you just twist the aux, maybe it's not like properly.
Okay, how about now?
No difference.
No, oh
It's
my
actually not that pog, but anyway.
God.
Jesus.
Right. No, that was me putting the
Oh no.
headset in now.
Anyway, um, I like the fact that the start brushes you up on it because I doubt many people have like rewatched Avatar 1 going into this movie, and there's definitely definitely a lot of people that watch this not even seen Avatar 1 because it's like, oh, you have to see Avatar because that's the cool thing to do now. Definitely a lot of people that did that, and I think it's really nice. It's refreshing. It's the reason that they have to leave the jungle. I think is good as well. Um, I do think they have maybe a tiny bit too much of a hard on for Jake if you think about it. But apart from that,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't.
not like them against the Navi people. It's like, oh, it's us against Jake Sully. Hoorah, you know. It was like he took out their army alone, which he didn't. He just united the people.
But I guess you could argue since United the people that the people wouldn't have been united, and they would never have. Because he knew like where to attack the ships because he knows like the weaknesses because he was a human.
And sure, he's the one controlling all the planned attacks and shit like that.
Yeah,
That's what they were saying as well.
I think I think once they get, I think what else? I kind of want to just hop into the end. Honestly, I don't really know what to talk about in the second act. The second act is like visually it's great. It's
The
in
second act,
any in,
folks.
in
The
any
second act,
it's
folks,
it's
is
my
the.
favorite by the way. It's
I'm
my
gonna call
favorite
it
by
the
the way.
UE arc.
It's my favorite act by the way. Second act's my favorite. It's the wow act. It's when they get to. So let's like towards the end of the first act, they get to, I don't remember the name. So they get to the water tribe, and the whole second act is them basically trying to integrate with the water tribe. They're like figuring out how to fit in, how to breathe in the water, how to swim with how to bond with those fish people, with the fish like mountains, which I love by the way. I love the fact that the I mentioned before that they don't explore the culture, but I love the fact that you can clearly notice the difference that they have. I wish I
Oh, it's
mentioned this.
the skin color.
I
Yeah.
wish I mentioned.
Well,
Well,
not
actually,
being like that, folks, but you know, it is
it's
they
nice that
differentiate them by skin color.
they look different. They have like fins on their hands. Their tails have fins, and it's. I really like. I like how the water things that work like look, and I like the fact that there's like small ones, big ones. I like the fact that they can bond with those huge whales on the inside, and they have like these
Oh, the
deep emotional
toucans.
connection. I have to mention this. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. When they killed the wonder whale, God, that scene is so good. It's like a 5-10 minute scene of them killing the whale to extract immortal oil basically from it. And normally in a movie, when they want to portray humans bad, they kill animals. It's like someone with a gun shoots the animal, and you're like, "Oh my God, how could you kill it?" And they like take whatever. But in this movie, they show it how it really is. It's a huge operation, slow and methodical. First, they need to find the person. Then it's like they shoot this tracker at her. Then they send out these submarines to shoot sonic waves at its gills so it's separated from the pack. Once it's separated, they concuss it with these bombs. Then they shoot it with these balloons to have it basically blow up and float to the surface. And then when it's floating to the surface, they prepare a harpoon and they shoot it. And then they're like reeling it back, stopping it, and the whale is still going because it's still so strong. And obviously, the whale is peaceful, so it does not want to fight back because they're intelligent and their society as a whole has decided that violence is inherently wrong, and so since violence only begets more violence, they basically all are peaceful. And it takes them like 10 minutes to get this whale, and you're like, damn, what a beast. And then you come in, and he like injects a little thing up the top, takes a vial of the immortality serum, and he's like, alright, well done, burn the carcass, like, time to go home. And you're like, damn. Like, it's not like they're gonna use the other parts, they're not gonna get it for meat or scrape the hide or anything, it's just take this one tiny thing and bounce. Like,
Yeah, one of the characters, Spider was like, "Is that it?
uh,
Is that all you're using them for?" And it's like, "Oh, you can have them if you want. Like, we got what we need, people. We're out of here." And it's like it is. It's supposed to be compared to, you know,
Well, whaling good. Yeah.
whale hunting. Yeah, whale hunting, and whole act of it being a necessarily bad thing. But of course, like most people, I feel like I didn't have any necessarily like any knowledge on
Jesus. Yeah, yeah.
hunting whales
Yo,
and shit
maybe,
like that. I didn't necessarily care, to be honest.
maybe you want to switch to AirPods. I don't know. It's getting pretty bad now.
Pretty bad. Oh no. Yeah. Okay. If you want to continue talking, I'll switch the
Yeah.
AirPods.
Yeah, like I was saying, I think, like we all know whaling is like not good, but you don't really understand the implication until you get hit with it, and you're like, damn, like this is brutal. I think that's another thing I like in this movie. Obviously, it's 12A, so they can't show too much gore, but I feel like they show a lot more than you'd expect. I mean, they have people arrows going into their heads, people being stabbed, brutalized. People, there's a scene where a guy has his arm ripped off, and you're like, damn, what the hell? Like this is Avatar. I didn't expect blood, guts, and murder. And obviously, it's not that extreme, but it's good enough. And yeah, I love the second act. Even though the third act has more action and the first act is like more origin story-ish, I do prefer the second act. Especially, I have one major problem with the third act that I will get to in a moment. My only problem, my only real fault with the movie is in its third act, and it's in my opinion, it doesn't detract from the actual movie. But when I was watching it, I was thinking, oh, when is this gonna happen? When is this gonna happen? And it never happened. And you're like, why did it never happen? So, Owen, can you hear me? He responded with that. Anyway, before I get onto that further thing, let me think. What else? The kids take a center stage in this movie. The TV definitely takes the sidelines for like in the middle. Like at the start, she's important. At the end, she's obviously very important. But in the middle, you have like she takes more of a side role. I love the fact that Spider, who is basically this adopted human child that they have, he's actually turns out to be the son of their colonel. I like the fact that he is with the colonel this whole time, and that he's like hanging out with him, and the colonel's trying to have him conform, but Spider like doesn't want to, but also he kind of likes his dad because it's his actual dad, and he doesn't always fit in with his blue family because they're literally blue. But yeah, are you back?
Yeah, am I back? Do I sound any better?
Yeah, you sound perfectly fine.
Alright, god damn.
So I'm just gonna go into my main problem, my only problem with the movie, yeah, and it's literally at the end. I think might as well. We talked about the second act.
Yeah. Well, if I'm gonna
Unless you want to
briefly
talk more
say
about the
anything
second
about
act.
the only thing I want to say about the second act is I love it. It's beautiful, but it is a lot of filler. It's a lot.
See,
Like I felt myself question like how long is this movie or how far are we in it? And I only turned out we were in it like for an hour. I was like,
oh yeah,
huh?
like
But the
yeah.
third act makes up for that. The third act went by in a flash. Honestly, like the third act is just 1 hour of non-stop go go go.
Oh yeah. The
Uh,
action in this movie is fantastic, and so the last part of the movie is this big set piece where they have to stop the colonel because he basically takes multiple hostages during the fight of Jake Sully's family because the colonel wants to fight Jake Sully like one on one, and the whole point. Oh wait, we didn't even mention the colonel is a blue person. The colonel had his mind put into a blue person. We didn't mention that. He's not a human. He is a blue person, and it's very funny to see how he does like the trial that Jake did, and he tries to like do all this shit that he's like, all right, we're gonna do this.
he tries to be a clone of Jake, which I thought was pretty cool.
He's like, Jake Sully did this, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I'm
do
gonna do this. Jake Sully did it the hard way. I'm doing it the hard way.
it. Yeah, I really thought that was interesting. And
Dude was proper. Like
obsessed.
he was probably proper meat riding, you know.
I'll tell you, mate. Actually, no, mate. Remind me to tell you something about the earphones after the podcast, alright?
Okay, cool.
But so my main problem, my only problem in the entire movie is in the final act. Towards the end of it, there's this huge ship that the humans are using, and it's falling apart. And throughout this fight, the water people have been helping them. They have like these water creatures that can fly a bit, and they're fighting. And then it's tooth and nail. People are dying everywhere. Navi are dying everywhere. And at the end, it all comes down. Jake Sully needs to take his family back. It's night. The battle's over. And basically, a lot of the end it's like time based. Like the ship's flooding, and they need to get help. And for like the whole time, I'm thinking, where's the army? Like, when are they gonna show up? Are they gonna show up at the end? Like, are they gonna help them from drowning? And I really like the way that they deal with them basically all nearly drowning. With Kiwi like bossing up, using nature to like help them guide. But my point is, what happened to the army? Like they fought, they won, and then they just bounced. Like what the hell? Like why? Where were they to help with Jake Sully and his family? Why weren't they around? Why didn't they storm the ship after they destroyed the sea forces? Do you know what I mean? That's my question. And
Like they were there for like half the fight,
they were
and
there
you're
for
like,
like the
oh yeah, it
whole.
was like
No,
felt like
they
a
were.
proper Infinity War. Like
Yeah,
them running out to face Thanos's, goons. But
that's why I think that's weird as well because there's a weak writing. I guess it's just it's so I didn't particularly mind it that much, but I was just thinking, where are they? I was like, where? What? I don't know. That's my one problem with the movie. That's why it's not. It's the best movie this year. There are plenty better movies, and I don't understand what happened. Even if my point is, this could be solved easily by by the battle still happening, or the people like we have to go home because we need to help the wounded, or them saying, oh, we have to help these ships, or they could have said anything, and it would have been fine, but they didn't. That's my only problem. Maybe they were like, all right, Jake Sully, you got this, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go there, but they clearly followed him, and they like followed him into the fight. So why would they then not follow him onto the ship? You know? Like that my question like a big whale jumps on the ship. Why didn't no one in Navi jump on the ship? That's what I don't get. That's my only problem with the movie.
no, for me, it's where's the human army?
Oh,
Where?
see, no, this is what I like, because this is a whole planet. This isn't like the human army. This is like a contingency. Like this isn't the whole planet going. We gotta kill Jake Sully. This is the colonel, his strike team, and his like mother base are trying to kill Jake Sully. That's what I actually like about this movie. That it's not the humans taking Jake Sully. It's the humans have occupied a chunk of Pandora. And they're attacking the forest, they're attacking the waters, they're probably attacking the earth and whatever other place we've seen in later movies. But I like the fact that it's Colonel and his like cracked squad and his like homies chasing Jake Sully. I kinda like that.
For me, it's like so they give the colonel like the operation of taking down Jake Sully,
Yeah.
which is like okay, yeah, fair enough. But like, why didn't they call him for backup at any stage? Why weren't they given, I don't know, an actual ship? Like they had a
They
ship
did, they
at the
had a
start,
huge
and
fucking ship.
no, they had the whale hunters near the end. That's not.
They had the huge mother base team. The humongous fucking team.
No, do you remember at the start of the movie when they're infiltrating the forest area
Yeah.
and they had the helicopter and the general was on the helicopter and they're like, we need evac immediately. We need evac.
Yeah.
We got VIPs. And the general's like, yeah, coming in.
Yeah.
We'll be there in 15. Where were they?
Well, that's the point. Because they went beyond the reach of them. That's like the point is that they ran from the forest and they got into the huge biome with the water people. Like those people, I think the thing is the way I interpret it is they're there as they've shown to extract these specific resources, and I feel like they don't want to devote any attention to other shit. And it's like, all right, the colonel will give you this. And yeah, you can ask the boat people for help, but we're not going to come all the way over there just to help you kill Jake Sully. Like, it seemed like it was more of a colonel thing than like a huge army team, if you know what I mean.
I get that. Like more just like the Colonel's personal vendetta while they were like,
Yeah.
well, you know, Jake Sully isn't our main objective.
Mm-hmm. But
I feel
yeah,
like they could have explained that though, because it was the general who also gave them, the orders. Oh, you need to go after Jake Sully. Do you remember that at the start of the movie where it's like Jake Sully's been targeting our transports and shit like that?
yeah, but
He's
that's
a nuisance. We got to get rid of him.
yeah, but they did. But he wanted to continue chasing them,
Jake Sully was still around. That's my thing. He was still kicking.
so they chased him. The
Yeah, they,
point is,
they
they
chased
didn't. They
him.
didn't want to
But then they were
dedicate
like,
the
oh,
entire.
we chased this guy fair enough. Oh, he got lost for a minute.
Well, yeah, they
We'll
didn't
leave
want to
him to
chase
it.
him because the whole plan of killing one of Jake Sully.
Remember when Jake Sully is the leader of
Yeah, but then he
what they
abdicates.
consider a terrorist group.
He abdicates. He is not.
He advocates?
Yeah, remember he gives it to the other bloke. Yeah, the other bloke's now the leader. Remember, he takes off the thing and he gives it to the other guy, and he's like, "You are now the special guy."
Oh, the two toucan or something.
Yeah,
Oh, I
Tuke.
remember. I remember.
Jake Sully's in exile. He's nobody now.
How
Jake
about that?
Sully.
Jake Sully.
So do we want to
Jake Sully becomes a note.
do we want to
Becomes
talk
a nobody.
about what we think is going to happen for the next movies? Shit.
I believe it's about time.
Yeah,
believe
I
it's
feel like
about
we're
time.
coming to close to the end.
Honestly, considering there's 5 movies,
Yeah, 3 more.
like folks, this is gonna be Avatar. Like it's gonna be Avatar 3, 4, and 5 within the next 4 years.
No, every 2 years there's another. So 2024 there's a new Avatar. 2026 there's a new Avatar. 2028 there's a new Avatar. Every 2 years there's gonna be an Avatar. You know.
Dear Lord.
Let's go.
Yeah, honestly, I'm excited for it, but
Yeah.
it's like I don't know what they're gonna do with it.
See,
Bear in mind, folks, they could do a lot.
yeah,
That's the thing. They could do a lot with this franchise.
it's hard to say if they. From what I read, from what I did a little digging around on, the castings and all that. From what I've read, this plot will. It's hard to say. Is this plot going to be like just 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 are going to be different, or like how overarching it is? From what I've understood, these kids, the family plot will stay for 3 and the first. From what I understood, yeah, 3 is not long after this movie, maybe like 1 or 2 or 3 years, and then 4, the first third is not long after the third movie, but then there's a long time skip, I'm pretty sure, because they mentioned that all the third movie is finished like filming, and the first third of the fourth movie is filming, and they need to create a gap for the children to grow up. Like there's a time skip, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, but so I don't know if the fifth movie is gonna be like. So, Nataeum. We said spoiler. Nataeum dies at the end. It's a very sad. I should have said earlier that if this movie made me cry. I didn't shed a tear at the end. I should have said that. I shed a tear at the end of this movie. It was at the funeral of Nataeum, and then they have like a little. They bond with Awa, and they look at us. They see him again as a kid, and it's very sad. But I watching this movie, I was trying to theorize what's going to happen, and at first I was thinking, like Loak is going to be the main guy, but then his second, oldest son. But then I was thinking, since Nataeum is so similar to Jake, he's like the perfect son. I was thinking Jake Sully dies in like the third movie, and then Nataeum becomes like the Jake Sully, And I was even thinking the fifth movie, it's like Nataeum's children, and it's like old man Nataeum. That's what I was thinking.
No,
I was
I
thinking, like,
never thought that. I
man,
never thought that.
there's got to be 2 more movies, man. The kid's aged 15 years in one movie. God knows how old they're going to be at the end.
For me, it was always a situation of Nathaniel, like they literally said it. Nathaniel's the perfect soldier. He's not. like Jake Sully's son. Like remember when the corporal
Jeez.
or the colonel, sorry, not the corporal, the colonel was like questioning the kids at the start, and it's like, "You're Jake Sully's." Then he was it his second son,
Uh-huh.
sticks up the middle finger, and he's like, "Oh, you're definitely Jake Sully's."
Uh-huh.
I always felt like Jake Sully in the first movie, he was always rebellious. He was always, the maverick.
Yep.
He was always the, shoot first, ask questions later kind of guy. And Loic is exactly like that, Doesn't think about the repercussions. Well, like Mateo was always questioning, "Oh, is this what Dad would do? Would Dad do this? Is Dad going to give out to me for doing this?"
Alright, let's just make it a bit more specific so we don't go crazy around. Which movie does Jake Sully die in?
Jake Sully, folks, mark my words, Jake Sully will die in the third movie. Third, if not fourth movie. Maybe early fourth.
I say either fourth. I say fourth. Maybe fifth if they go real sussy. I think they won't do this, but I would be interested in if they pull like a old man Jake Sully where he survives all the movies and like his kids die and his people die and he's like, damn, everyone's dying around me, you know what I mean?
It'd be cool to see. Honestly, I'd love it if. Now this is complete crackpot therapy here, folks. Like crackpot theory time here. I'd love it if the third movie was like the final. And then the next two movies are alternate endings. That'd be so good.
What? That's so stupid. What?
That's why I said it's crackpot theory time.
That's a stupid ass theory. What the fuck? So the fourth and fifth movie make it out useless because that's not what actually happened.
Well, let's just say they kidnap Jake Sully or something like that. They have him like under the mind interrogation yoke. And they're like, "We're gonna make you watch out the events of what's gonna happen to your family," and that'll be the end of the third movie. And Jake Sully breaks out in the fourth movie, and he realizes none of that shit happened, and he's going off and he's trying to save his family. And then in the fourth movie, you could also have his family dying or some shit or like that. Let's just say something like that, or we see a different ending. And then in the fifth movie, you come to realize, or you could do the fifth movie, it follows on from the kids. But I'd love to see a movie where it shows us an ending, and then they're like, that's not it.
I think that's not it. I think that's too cheap. I think people will like that because they'll say, "What's the point of that movie if that doesn't happen?"
Well, bear in mind, he's getting like the first half of the movie.
What's the point? What's the point?
The first half of the movie. What's the point if the first half of the movie is canon? The first half of the movie.
What's the point if the whole last part isn't canon? Why just not have that? Why would people be interested?
Why? Because this is like his mind under like not interrogation, but under like what'd you say?
Duress.
Not the rest, but like
I disagree. I think that sounds really stupid.
I just love to see the movies show out like alternate endings. Like we have Jake Sully dying one, or we have his family dying one. We see Jake Sully almost do like the last run in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles style.
That's just some fanfic shit.
Take down the corpo.
That's just some fanfic shit.
That's why I said it's crackpot theory time.
I mean, there's crackpot theories, and then there's whatever you just said. When you said crackpot theories, I thought you were gonna be like, oh, TalkingTelly is gonna be like the main character, and something like that. Youngest daughter.
No, that's too crackpot.
How is that? How is Talking becoming the main character? More crackpot than alternate fucking endings.
Alternate endings for a movie.
Yes, that's more crackpot than an actual character becoming the main character. Huh?
I would fucking... I just love alternate endings. I just love it. I think it'd be so fucking cool.
I love them as well, but like, you can't make a movie about alternate endings because the whole point is that... No.
But it helps you perceive the movies in like different lights each time. I think that'd be really fucking cool to see. Even if they don't like include it in the 5 movies or whatever. I'd love if they released alternate endings.
A fanfic of alternate endings.
Not a fanfic of alternate endings.
That's what it is, though. It's a fanfic. Because the director has one vision. He doesn't have, like, oh, well, it could have like this. The director has.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Yes,
I
but
feel
they
like they have
don't.
to screen loads of ideas before they finally
Yes, but
hit one.
but
But I'd
that's
love
the
if
whole
they
point.
just
There has to be one idea. James Cameron can't be like, well, there's two ways to end Avatar, and both of them are perfect. That's not how it works. There's a reason that there's one and not two. Alright, alright. I'm gonna hit you. I'll just hit you with the very simple. Alright, I'll hit you with a very safe theory, which I think will probably happen. So, Lorak becomes boss leader man around 3-4 movie, and then movie 4 and 5 are gonna hinge on the Kiri and Spider shit. Kiri, I think, is gonna be main character in one of the last two movies. And like I'm talking like the MacGuffin ex machina, most important person on the planet, because she has powers of Awa. That's my theory, and I think that's pretty safe.
fine. And if we're keeping it safe,
We'll make
here,
normal theories, not fucking alternate
fine
reality
and
theories.
fine and
This
fine
isn't
and
Doctor Strange.
no normal theory time. Normal theory time.
Jesus.
I say the Sully in theory, they die in either the
Yeah,
third
yeah,
movie or the fourth movie.
yeah.
I
Oh,
feel like Lorak, he can't come in to like boss leader time until Sully dies.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He can't.
yeah,
Like it'd just be unnatural for the movies. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
So I feel like we have to wait for Sully to die. I feel like he's definitely going to be a changed person after the Mateo dying incident, and now he's the big brother. But I feel like he's not actually going to become a man until he is the man of the Sully family, you know?
Yeah.
So seeing Sully die in the third movie, I 100% see that. I see him dying in the third movie. Laura coming into his own in the fourth and fifth movie and finally bossing him.
Yeah.
And I see Kiri as being like the key, which will
Yeah.
be discussed in the third movie. Maybe they'll see her like evolving,
Yeah.
but she doesn't fully understand it.
Uh-huh.
In the fourth movie, she'll fully come to terms with it, and in the fifth movie, she like if you think about it, the Sully family are the bridge.
Yeah, it's like she's like Doctor Manhattan, Pow.
But yeah, it's quite literally. I was gonna get over that one there. That was bad. God damn it, man. God damn it.
What?
Bringing in a Doctor Manhattan joke.
What's wrong with Doctor Manhattan?
Oh,
What do you
oh,
mean? Doctor Manhattan's a beast.
oh. He's just another blue person. He's just another blue person.
Yeah, a blue person with dots on his face. Question mark.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh
Okay, so
shit.
going back to it, the Sully family are the bridge between the Na'vi and the humans.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like Kerry being the key, and the whole family being the key to like unity and peace, which I eventually believe is going to be like the result of the fifth movie.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to come, like it's going to be the Colonel eventually dies again.
Yeah, yeah. My question is, final question actually, who will be the villain throughout the other movies? Do you think it's going to be the Colonel for all the movies?
No,
Oh.
it'd be funny if they did just every single movie.
I think that'd be
bring
pretty
him back.
goddamn. Personally, I would love that. I know a lot of people would hate that, but I think that's cool.
Personally, I feel like they've already done the revival thing. I feel like that's done now. Like they've revived them. If they revived them again in the fifth movie, it'd
Yeah,
be
but
like
think if he's
aloha
like a
from.
goddamn omnipresent being. You can't stop this man. It's a colonel. It's his job to like Sully's dead, and he's like now time to kill his super inbred alien family alongside him. Put a boat in the ground where you. He's like, I'm gonna put you in the ground where I put your daddy. I can see him like, I can see him killing Jake Sully.
No, I don't see him killing Jake
I
Sully.
see him killing
I
Jake
see,
Sully.
I see Jake Sully making the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, and then dying to him.
I wouldn't say he dies to him, and I would not say he dies to him. I would say Jake Sully gets kidnapped and killed. That'll be how they kill him, almost like a Braveheart ending.
That sounds Well, who came last? The Colonel.
I don't think the Colonel killed. I think the General killed him.
The General's a crappy character.
Hold on a minute.
Oh.
You almost said something you shouldn't have.
What do you mean? I
You
said the
stopped
General's a
yourself.
crappy character. What's
Bear
wrong
in
with
mind, the
that?
General hasn't been fully
The General was like
fleshed
in there
out
for
yet.
like 2 scenes. She sucked ass.
Yeah, she hasn't been fully fleshed out. And the Colonel, who has just been given the revive, the Fortnite revive van got her, and was practically given superpowers, just been killed. Like they were on a fully armed Tulkin hunting ship, which had, explosive tipped harpoons and hundreds of goons with guns, and had a full death squad, an Avatar death squad, and they lost to, Navi people
I
with
have no
spears.
idea what you're talking about.
They lost to Navi people with spears
Yeah, what's
on
up?
flying bird fishes
Yeah.
and a toucan.
I,
They lost.
I don't
So I
know
feel like
what.
the general's going to come in and be like, we got to get rid of this. The human expansion isn't going fast enough. Time to exterminate all
The
the.
General didn't. We'll see. I don't think the General is going to do nothing.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, that's exactly what's going to happen. She's going to come out and say, we need to expand faster. We're not expanding fast enough. We need to start murdering all these innocent people.
She sucks.
But I'm telling you, that's what's
Yeah,
going to
like,
happen.
yeah,
They're not
like,
going
I'm joking. Yeah, I
to.
mean,
You're just a Colonel fanboy.
yeah. I get you. I get you.
You're a
Don't get your
Colonel
panties.
fanboy. You just want to back every movie with the
Uva,
Colonel. Because, like, at
Marines,
the
let's
start of the movie, we want to
go.
make him stronger. We're going to give him a six
Uva.
pack in the next movie.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
going to be the big dog.
Get
He'd
him
be in the
some
third movie. He's
Bud
going to
Light to
take a
drink down.
fat L. Bear in mind, he didn't die in the second movie. He
Yeah,
didn't
no,
die.
yeah. Spider saved him. The fella ain't gonna die again. I mean,
So fella, of course,
I have a
fella be in
question.
the
I have
third
a
movie.
question. Yeah,
Of course.
when he dies again, what stops them from bringing him back? They have his goddamn brain. Why would they not bring him back again? They never
I'm
said
telling you.
that they only had one version of it. They made it seem like they can bring it back as many times as they want.
No, they took like a copy of his brain.
Yeah, so surely we'd assume they took a copy of his brain again.
Honestly, I feel like might be this isn't like crackpot theory time as in alternate endings crackpot theory time. But I feel like the general or somebody, like they bring in somebody and they just kill the colonel.
Wait, what? Like the
Now
human
this
person
might
killed the colonel,
yeah, human person kills the colonel.
and he
And
goes like
here's
Navi.
I'll explain why. Bear in mind, the colonel was brought back to life in Navi form with the sole intent of getting rid of Jake Sully, and he failed. Failed miserably, mind you. The guy just outright failed. So I feel like he goes back to the human base. I was like, we need more people. We need more guys. I lost all my men. I lost everything. I need to take out this Jake Sully guy. And they bring in another person who takes on the role as colonel. I was like, your means are outdated. You're not seeing the bigger picture here. You're not actually trying to kill Jake Sully here. You're just trying to exact revenge. You're not actually doing anything. You're just dying over and over. Or you're just barely escaping death. And because of that, the new guy just kills him. The new guy just kills the colonel.
Shit.
I could see that though. I could see them bring in a bigger bad than the colonel. Who's
A
just
bigger
like
bad guy.
bring in a bigger bad guy. Bring in a cooler bad guy.
Who's cooler than the colonel?
Everyone's cooler than the colonel,
What
bro.
do you mean? He's cool as hell.
The colonel ain't cool as hell, bro.
What
The
do you mean?
colonel ain't cool as hell.
The colonel's boss.
He's just an old guy.
He's not old.
Honestly, give me like Vietnam flashbacks. Every time I see him on the screen, it's
He's
like
not
another
old.
day in Nam.
How can you say he's old? He's
Spry young buck.
he's aged
Spry
like a
young buck.
he's aged like a fine wine.
Fella got that George Clooney method on dick.
Was there?
All right, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with that, I think we start bringing this to a close.
You can wrap it up.
I feel like, folks, this movie is a definite must watch. If you've watched this far, I definitely feel like you've seen the movie. Well, I hope you have at least. And if you've watched the movie and you've watched it in 2D, I know it might seem like a stretch. Three
Rip.
hours,
Rip.
like 3 hours is a lot to ask of anyone.
Holy shit.
But I highly recommend you watch this movie in 3D. Forget everything you know about the 2D. Just scrap it out of your mind entirely and go watch this movie in 3D. You'll find a higher appreciation for the little things, which is what I feel carries this movie and makes it my movie of 2022. Honestly, without a shadow of a doubt, like we saw Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, we thought it was the best MCU movie. We saw Bullet Train, it is the hidden gem of 2022. But now Avatar: The Way of Water, it is it is the movie of 2022.
Yep.
And with that, I think that's it, folks.
Yep. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you if anyone got this far. And make sure to like, share, subscribe, pog, comment, whatever you can to do. We greatly appreciate anything that can be done to, increase our channel, make it a bit bigger, have a couple of people, interact, make an actual community out of this. And hopefully see you guys the next week. See you.